All right, thanks, Ron. Well, as we age, the way we exercise changes over the years, and we are joined this morning by Dr. Dan Ritchie, who has written a new book, Never Grow Old, about ways to continue to exercise well into your 70s and 80s, and thanks for being here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, Dan, you own a couple personal training facilities up in Tippecanoe County, up north, and that's how we know each other, but you also have written this new book, and tell me a little bit about the idea behind this book.
Yeah, well, really the Never Grow Old concept is a concept me and Cody Sight, my business partner, have been thinking about for over 10 years. We've trained over 2,000 clients now over the age of 50, and we really felt like it was time to offer that to everyone around the world. In fact, people email me all the time and say, hey, do you know a trainer in DC or in Seattle? And I'm like, well, I really don't. And so we really felt like it was time to put it into a book and also a DVD and online program. So if somebody wants to train with me from their own home, they can do that now. We've filmed 17 different workouts. So just like we used to train you one-on-one, we can now do that with people in their own living room, in their own gym, wherever they want to do that.
Well, that's one of the things I would notice when I would be working out at your facility is that there are a lot of older folks there who maybe had never really worked out before. I think you probably deal with that a lot where they say, well, I don't want to get, all bulky. I've never done this before, that sort of thing. Right.
Yeah, it really is a little bit different in terms of it's not just doing the same fitness we do for, say, 20 and 30-year-olds who want to look great, and maybe they have to be on TV, and they have to, look the part. It's really people are saying, hey, this is the next chapter of my life. I want to be able to play with my grandkids. I want to stay independent. I want to avoid the dreaded nursing home. I don't ever want to have to leave my home. Independence is a really big thing for baby boomers. And so the exercise program is really designed for how do we get people the results they want without hurting them? How do we allow them to train hard and stay strong without bothering their knees, their back, and some of these things where they may have arthritis? So it really is thinking about a 60-year-old doesn't train like a 30-year-old and doesn't need to.
Well, yeah, and it's so many more people, I'm sure, are going to be coming in looking for exercise routines just as the baby boomers age. I mean, do you see a lot of that? The demand is probably a lot higher.
Yeah, it's much higher. In fact, 10,000 people are turning 65 every day. So the baby boom generation is getting older and becoming the old senior citizen, but they don't want to be a senior citizen.
Right.
In fact, they say, I don't want to ever grow old. I want to stay young, I want to stay active, I want to stay vibrant. So that's really the title, Never Grow Old, because a lot of these people I see come in, they're saying, I don't want to get old like my parents did. I don't want to ever face a nursing home. I don't want my kids to have to take care of me. I want to be able to take care of myself. I want to still go to Antarctica. I still have a long bucket list, a lot of adventures I want to pursue.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely an age group that there's obviously a captive market for it, but you actually deal with all different age groups. I do want to point out that you got a huge award here, the Personal Fitness Professional Magazine Personal Trainer of the Year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Recently in Chicago in October at Club Industry, I was recognized out of 500 trainers from several countries. The U.S. and Canada are the primary countries this magazine serves, but yeah, fitness professionals all around the world, and I was recognized as the Trainer of the Year. So pretty nice to see the fitness industry is starting to recognize that fitness for people over 50 is important.
Right.
Because kind of typically the fitness industry is focused on people in their 20s and 30s.
Well, coming up after the break, you're actually going to show us some of those exercises, and definitely want to stick around for that. We'll tell you more about the book after this. You're watching Local 7 Lifestyles on WTVW.
Now, Local 7 Lifestyles continues.
Well, welcome back to Local 7 Lifestyles. We are joined once again by Dr. Dan Ritchie, and we're talking about his new book, Never Grow Old, and we're talking about tailoring an exercise program specifically for people who are maybe over 60, maybe getting on in age and want to still stay fit. And we're talking about some specific exercises here.
Yeah, we're going to see how much exercise we can get Laura to do this morning. No.
It's Workout Monday. For my heels.
So I remember when I used to come in the studio in West Lafayette and get you to do push-ups and those sorts of things. So that's a lot of fun. So it's great for me to be back. So the book is actually available on Amazon.com. People can purchase it for $12.99, and it has about 10 workouts in it.
Okay.
They also can go to our website, functionalfitnesssolution.com, where we have videos. So if people say, hey, I want the DVD, I want to see it, you know, because a book is sometimes hard to do exercise movements. So there's that option as well, and that's available immediately. And I want to show some of the exercises because on the break we were talking a little bit about kind of traditional gym exercise. A lot of times it's very one-dimensional. We do arm curls or bench press or squats, and it's not rotational movement. It's not how we move as humans. So we like to think about training all three planes of motion because as people we need to turn and move and twist and bend and stoop, and so we want to train all of those things. So a couple of the first simple things I want to show anybody can do at home with us is a lot of just kind of balance movement in multiple directions. So just from a regular stance, you can start by stepping forward, and then you can make that step a little bit bigger. And then instead of just stepping forward, now we're going to take it kind of around the clock. So I always tell people you can pretend you're standing on a clock, so you can go to 2 o'clock, you know, you can come out to 3 o'clock. And then you can, the hard one, especially for people over 60, is when you start coming back behind, because now I sort of feel like, whoa, I'm losing my balance backward, but it's really important to train that. So it's not just my exercises straight out in front, but it's all different directions. So we always want to train moving in different directions. So I want to show a few things with the band as well, and I'll let you be my station.
This will be great.
I'll pull against you. So if you hold that, hopefully I won't pull her over. So.
Yeah.
So a band's really nice because at home you can anchor it to a door, you can anchor it to a wall, you can anchor it to a post, a lot of different things, and then you can do all sorts of movements. So I can step back and now pull. Yeah, come on, you're stronger than that.
I gotta ground myself. Okay.
So I can step back and I can pull. Okay, I could also step off to the side and I could rotate.
Dan, I got
She's not
heels
quite
on.
like a wall, is she? So the band, and the reason we use bands a lot in our exercise programs is because you can move in all sorts of directions, which is a lot like regular life. I can even, if I turn around and turn my back to you, now I can push the bands out in front of me. And again, I could change my step, so I could stand over to this direction, but push this way. I'm pulling her again. So.
It's just these heels are so high.
She's sliding on the floor. So the band allows for a lot more rotational movement, which is really what we want to see training a lot of people over 50, because if we just do bicep curls, if we just do machines, we don't get any of that natural human movement in all directions.
I remember you saying that early on because it was like a novel concept to me because I've been doing squats forever. I remember you saying, you know, do squats but add something, or do a lunge and turn to the side. And so that makes sense because that's how we move.
Right, exactly. We always try to add complexity. So even if you're doing a single movement like a squat, well, let's add something to it, like a press or a curl or a reach or a row. You can add so many things. Make movements more like real life, because when we climb stairs, there's multiple things going on.
Right. Well, one of the other things is you talk a little bit about how, you know, a lot of people, they tend to walk. You know, walking is a great way to get out there, cardio, but walking doesn't necessarily build muscle. And how important is building muscle, you know, to healthy aging?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because walking is probably the biggest mistake that people over 50 make, is they say, oh, well, I walk every day. Well, walking's great. You should walk. Absolutely, you should walk every day if you can. But it doesn't maintain our strength. It doesn't maintain our muscle power. So people will eventually get weaker and weaker, and climbing stairs becomes an issue. Getting out of a chair becomes an issue. Walking does not preserve that. So you have to strength train. You absolutely have to strength train.
And how often should people be doing that, especially if they've never really worked out before?
Most of the recommendations say strength training should be 2 to 3 times a week. Our programs in the book and online are set up that way. You can train 2 to 3 times a week. You can do more if you want, but a minimum of 2 to 3 strength training sessions a week. So even if you're walking 5 or 6 days a week, you've got to be strength training 2 or 3 times.
I do want to hold up the book one more time, and we'll put a link to it on our website, but it's Never Grow Old. Just an idea to maybe get yourself fit in the new year, to come up with a new plan, maybe headed forward, you know, in your retirement even, because it's so important. Like, as you said, those baby boomers aging, important to stay healthy so you can live and you can feel good in your later years.
Yeah, to me that's really the huge thing. It's what do you want your quality of life to be in your 60s, 70s, and 80s? Do you still want to be on the golf course in your 80s? Are there hobbies and things you want to do in your 80s? Well, being fit and healthy really helps you accomplish those.
Well, it was always fun to see people who, I think there was a guy who was probably in his 80s who used to work out all the time at Miracles. It was always so much fun to see people taking charge of their health like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Morning Headlines up next.